Hey guys, it's Doc, and today I'm going to take you on a trip to North Georgia. We're going to find some gold, and I'm going to show you a new product that we've come out with, which is actually a modification to a product. So hold on one sec. Hey guys, I'm actually just getting out of my truck. I'm over at the shop, and we got back yesterday. We went up to the mountains to shoot this video. I figured what I do first though is let's go into the shop and let me show you the product and the modifications we've made for this. It's actually pretty cool. So hold on one sec. Hey guys, so I'm over at the shop, and I figure what I do real quick is just run down real quick so everyone understands what I'm talking about. So here's the FlowPan. This is the FlowPan. There are thousands of them all around the world. People absolutely love this FlowPan. I love my FlowPan, and I'm going to tell you why. You can process a huge amount of material extremely quickly. In other words, you could take a 5-gallon bucket of material and you can work it down, and I can do it in probably 3 or 4 minutes. No classifying. You put it in, rock it back and forth. It works an entire bucket of material, and you end up with about half a cup of concentrate sitting in your mat. That's how it works. The nice thing about this is that this is what it looks like in your backpack, in your truck, in your gearbox. So it breaks down 6 wing nuts, and you have the pan. That's it. That's all it takes to actually put this thing together. So that's the FlowPan. So let me tell you the problem solution that we ran into. Here is the hog pan. Hog pan has been around for years. It's been a great seller for us. The problem with the hog pan, now the hog pan, how it works is it has a trap door in here. It's made of extremely heavy aluminum. Extremely. This is a heavy beast. It has a capture down here. You wash material, and what it does is it primarily catches all the heavies. So it catches all your black sand and all your gold down the bottom. People love the hog pan. Here's my problem. Over the past 2 years, we've had price increase, and price increase, and we've absorbed that in our margins to the point where it's getting to the point that we're just not making money on it as of last month, the last price increase, because of sheet aluminum. Sheet aluminum has gone up through the roof. So we had to make a decision, and the decision was we probably I don't want to charge any more for this thing. I just can't do that. I'm not going to charge any more for it, so I think we're going to drop it. But here's what we're going to do. So the past few months, we've been looking for a solution to this. And here's what we came up with. It's pretty cool. So the solution is, if you already have a hog pan or if you're ordering a hog pan, either way, it doesn't matter. The hog pan has a very small, sort of 1/2-inch bottom tray on it. And so what we've done is we've come out with what we call the ConBox, or Heavies box, which is a much thicker box. You take this box off, you put this box on, and now you have a box that's a little bit different, and I'll show you how it's different in a second. That actually works more like the hog pan. At the same time, you also take the cross-flow technology sides, because that allows the water to flow through. You take those off and you replace them with solid sides. So these are the solid sides. So if you currently have a FlowPan and you want to convert it into this capture box, you actually order the kit, and the kit has the box, the mat, and it has the solid sides inside of it. Now this box, the other box, none of this is welded. This box is actually welded. There's a lot of fabrication that goes into this. There's a metal flange here, I'll show you. The box is all welded up. It's really, really well made. So you take this, you take off this bottom, you pop this top onto it, you put your screws in, and here's, you have a FlowPan. This is important. You put your screws in the side. When you put your screws in the side, the box has a tendency to rock back and forth without any other screws. So what you need to do is push down in the middle, take a drill through the hole gently, just drill through that hole. Put a wing nut on this side. You want to lock the box in before you drill the other side. Then you turn it around and you drill the other side. What we found, and I couldn't figure it out at first, but if you drill this side and don't put a wing nut in, you're pushed down and it's going to rock and your holes aren't going to line up. Hope that makes sense. So if you have a FlowPan, you're going to hit this box, make sure you do that process. So you put it on, put your end wing nuts on, drill a hole, put one wing nut in before you drill the other hole. On the hog pan, we use a grate system, and the grate system sort of keeps the bigger rocks off the bottom. But we didn't want to use a grate system. Some people are saying they consider that a classifier, so you can't use it in a gold pan. So we wanted to come up with something different. We actually came up with I think it was about 12 different ways to do this. And what we really came up with was a way to push the big rocks or keep the big rocks off the bottom and allow the actual fines and heavies to settle. So a way to lift the rocks versus hold the rocks. One of the issues with the FlowPan is that a lot of times you get a lot of rocks stuck in this grizzly grate. You got to clean it out. With this one, you don't get that problem. So let me show you real quick. Okay, so here's the actual ConBox. This ConBox, of course, it has welded sides, and then it has a flap here. If you look at this flap, it angles down, and there's a space under here. And then there are holes here, and of course holes all around it. What we figured out is if we take a piece of Yukon mat, and if we put Yukon mat, the Yukon mat has fingers, so you can see these sort of ridges, and that keeps the big rocks off the bottom. Now what we do is we stop this mat right in line with this little lip, and you can see that there's actually a drop zone. It's sort of, we call it sort of the gold trap that's inside there. There's about 3/4 of an inch that's empty with no matting back here. There's also, when you look at it, there's also a gap around the edges. There's a gap around the edges. And you'll see in the video that if we take the mat out, or if we just clean the box, we see a lot of gold, but we also see a ton of gold that gets caught up under here. And even what's cool is some of the gold works under the mat. Now what happens is you put 2 wing nuts in here. So there are wing nuts that actually hold the mat in place. This is what it actually looks like as a finished product. Let me explain real quick. This is a funny note, and I talk about this when we're out in the field, but we're putting, and if you may have to put yourself, I just stick a piece of Gorilla Tape here. Let me explain why. If you don't have this, your screws are going to fall out when you take your mat out. We could put a crimp. We could glue it. We could actually put a crimp inside here to hold it. But at some point you may want to, if these threads ever get damaged, you may want to replace that screw easily. I just, honestly, it's just easier just to throw a piece of Gorilla Tape on there and hold it. It's waterproof, it won't come off. If you want to change that and put whatever you want to put, you go right ahead and change it. But that's the way we're going to ship them out, is with that little piece of tape on the bottom. So understand, don't take that tape off, leave that tape on. Because if you're in a creek and you pull your mat out, your screw's going to drop right out. There's nothing there to hold it. So this is what the box is, and you're going to see in the video that when we work this, what ends up happening is the gold, and this is a huge area. I mean, this is a massive area. All your gold just drops right into this within seconds. And then you just tilt the pan and you work it and you work it, and it all stays in here, and the excess material flows out. Now, the main point to this system is the FlowPan will take, if you do a full bucket, the FlowPan will take you down to about 1/2 cup of concentrates. If you use the FlowPan with the ConBox, you can fill it up, wash everything off, just have the heavies, and then wash that off into a bucket. You can collect all the heavies and all the heavies all day, and you walk out of there with a 1/2 bucket of like super concentrates. Or we also did a test where what we did was we ran an entire bucket without cleaning it out. We did that test too. And so we took a 5-gallon bucket down to about 1 cup or 2 cups of concentrates. So that's the reduction rate if you do a full bucket. So you can do it either way. You can wash this out every single time you work it, or you can work a full bucket and just wash it out at the end of the full bucket. And you'll see that in the video coming up. So let me move some of this junk out of here for a minute. What's interesting and what I really liked about this trip that you're going to notice, and I didn't even really catch it till I got home, but you'll see it on the video, is that everyone has their own unique way of working this. And like I said, it's a brand new product for us, so over time everyone will come up with some different techniques. But basically you put your material in, you wash it back and forth, and then you just rinse it like this. Now, we did find, some people were finding what they could do is after they got down to a certain point, they would turn the pan this way and just work it like a regular gold pan, and just sort of shake it in the water and shake it in the water and work it down even finer. That was a technique that they were playing with was good. That really worked well. The other one is sometimes I'll work it and work it. Sometimes I'll actually come back and drain it out of a corner, So you play with it, but the primary purpose of this pan is to replace the hog pan and allow people to catch all the black sand and all the gold. So you walk out of there with a bucket of concentrates that you can either process with a multi-sluice or run through a stream sluice or take them home, pan them in the garage. Now what we did in this video is we actually took concentrates out of a bucket. We set up a multi-sluice and we stripped it through a multi-sluice using only 100 to 300 mesh gold. You're going to see that. I put that in the video. And then we did one section where we did nothing but superfine gold. Then we did a section where what we did is we took this nasty clay stuff and we seeded in all sizes of gold. So I have 200 mesh gold all the way up to big nuggets. Basically just to go out there and do all of our field testing, get these people, some of these people have never touched one of these in their life. Two of the guys actually have a FlowPan, so they were able to use this and compare it to the FlowPan versus this. Everybody loved it. It's a great product. So I think I've covered just about everything. Now, just so you know, we hope to have pre-orders starting here maybe next week. The first shipments of these things, we're ballparking. We're thinking the first week or second week in September is when we'll probably actually start the shipping. Don't walk me down on that, but you can go to the website. You can go to goldhog.com and read up on it, or you can go to flowpan.com, either website. You can read up on it and find more information about the pre-orders and when we're launching it and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, I'll shut up. Let's go out to the field and let's see what we did out there. Hey guys, so we just got here, getting ready to set up and do some video shooting. I wanted to show you this. Here's a perfect example where you could use the FlowPan. If you want to do a quick test, I want you to look. This is beautiful actually. All right, look at that pile of dirt. And look at all those piles. I don't know if you can see them. I'm going to walk down and show you all those piles. So which pile should you work? And just to give you a little perspective how big these piles are, that's a big pile of dirt. So I got a big pile of dirt here. We got all these piles down here. So we got all these piles here. So you pull up somewhere and you don't know what to work. Look at that. So which pile of dirt is going to be the good pile? Maybe one looks a little more brown. One has different looking rocks in it. Well, this is where a FlowPan would come in. Where am I gonna? This is the prospecting part of mining. So before you mine, you actually want to prospect. So I want to test this pile, take a 5-gallon bucket, test that pile, that pile, that pile. I want to take a 5-gallon bucket out of all these. I can go over the creek, I can work down each bucket in 5 minutes, see what my results are, look at the best pile and say that's the one I want to work. It's the initial results. It's telling me that this pile is better than the next one. That's where a FlowPan will come in great. Hey guys, so let me show you what we're doing real quick. To start with, we're going to take, I've got some raw pay dirt from last time where we've got that really fine gold. It's like 100 to 200 mesh gold, and we're going to work that with some of the new FlowPans with a conversion ConBox on them. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the concentrates that they get. So I've just set the multi-sluice up in a recirc situation here. And we're going to take those cons, we're just going to strip them. I just want to strip them down just real quick. And a lot of people have asked, what's this battery I use? I'll post this up somewhere, but this is a little Duracell 12-14F2. It's like a little cart battery, wheelchair battery. And I found that I can probably get a good hour, maybe 2 hours of actual run time out of that battery, but it's so much nicer than carrying that thing around, which I did bring just in case. All right, so to start off with, I'm going to kind of walk you through step by step what I'm doing here initially. This is raw excavated pay, tons of silt, tons of clay. It's just nasty stuff, right?
It's nasty stuff.
It's horrible. And I've seeded in, each bucket probably has about 1 gram of super fine gold, like 100 to 200 mesh type gold. That's about the material I want everyone to start with. So I got learners up here. We got him. That's my muscle and the brains of the operation. So we got the muscle and the brains. So I'm just going to have them put about this much in the box, and I'm going to show you how I work that, and then I'll come back and get some more. Okay, so I've got my dirt in here. I know this is my dump side. Why? because I put my black tab where that little flap is. So let me show you how this works. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to submerge this in the water. Now there's no risk of anything falling out of this pan, by the way. So it's just going to kind of sit here. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of just let it stop, and now I'm just going to let the water sort of take out material here. Sitting right in here are all my heavies and black sands. Now you can see I could go back and I'm going to put some more in and continue to work without having to empty this. Now, in fact, I probably need an empty bucket to clean this out, and maybe even just set it over here. And then also, so I'm going to put a little bit more in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to work it again, and then I'll take it out, and I'll just hand pan this one. Put it down, let it agitate in. The key is a super hard agitation, get everything to stratify right down to the bottom. Now I'm done. And now I'm left with basically cons. Now if I want to work it down, I can. And what I'm doing is I'm waiting to see some black sand. And as soon as I see black sand, I'm going to kind of stop. So I'm starting to see purples and black sand, so I'm going to stop. So no matter really how much, depending on how much black sand you have in an area, that's how much your con. So I'm just going to rinse this out real quick and show you how I do that. All right, so when I rinse it out, my tab is here, my flange is here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this like this. And I'm going to get the material to come down in here. I don't have a lot of water here. Now this is raw paste, so it's just absolutely nasty. But I'm going to throw the water up under here. It's going to wash this down. The mat's washed down to here. This gold comes down to here and washes out. Make a little pan. There we go. Now we're talking. And so now, I don't know if you can see it, but up under here is pretty clean. The mat's pretty clean. Everything is pretty clean. I don't have to worry about it. The gold's not going anywhere really if it's in here. So let me take this and put it into a pan and hand pan it real quick. All right, so here's the amount of concentrates I got out of that. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hand pan it real quick. And now what I'm gonna do is just tap it over. You know what I didn't bring today? Jet dry. And that's what I've got right there. All little tiny fine gold. So let me grab the camera and show you. Again, the purpose here is to start with is always, I always like to start off with fine gold so that people can see it. And that's what I'm left with. So let's get to work and let's do some panning. Let the games begin. right, so I made a quick point, and Jeff actually said, hey, you know what, you made a very good point, and there's an observation. When you have dry material, leave a little water in your pan, because why?
Because the material just basically compacted down into the riffles.
When it was dry.
When it was dry, even after wetting it, really agitating it, it remained dry down in that riffle when I went to rinse it out. So I've been putting a little bit of water into my pan, and then putting my material in. You notice it almost liquefies immediately.
Immediately it wets.
You can stratify it a lot quicker and easier.
There you go. So if you're working this dry, nasty clay stuff, or anything that's super dry, any dry material, let me show you what he's got here. So he's actually got, you know, like an inch of water. You can actually leave it up to the box. So it'll hold. Now these boxes are the first boxes ever welded on this thing for this actual purpose, because we're trying to hold concentrates. So why don't you put it on the ground? So now the material is actually, instead of being dry and being crusted up against the mat at the bottom of the pan, the material actually melts. And that's a great place for it to start. So now, and same thing, if you were dumping a shovel in here, it actually is the same way. Just go ahead and just dump it in from the bucket. And you can see how it just sort of melts. So now that's actually melting. And the girls behind me saw a spider in the water, so they're freaking out. All right, so this is experimentation and play day, and we're actually learning as we go here and learning some tricks. So Jeremy is learning something and teaching us as we go. So let's talk about what you're doing.
Well, as I was classifying it down, I noticed it's similar to a regular pan. When if you don't want much concentrates, you just
jiggle and work, jiggle and work, jiggle and work, and then you can let the rocks come off of it.
And I know my goal is going to be heavier underneath that flat.
That's right, and you can actually start at a flatter angle. So start it at a little bit flatter angle, and then do that slower and increase the angle as you go. Now there you go, increase it, jiggle it, and jiggle it. There you go. And then the rocks will, if you have big rocks, you can force them out of there. But don't forget, your goal is not to work this down like a flow pan. Your goal is to work this down to the point where you're capturing all your heavies. So it's a different mindset. He's worked the flow pan, and it's definitely a different feel to this box. This is a capture box, and you're like, because you've worked the flow pan, you're like, man, I want to get all this stuff out of here. And it's like, no, this is a little different. This is actually capturing a lot more material to the point where at the end of the day, you got half a bucket of concentrates that we're going to take and we're going to work in a multi-sluice or a stream sluice, or I'm going to take them home and pan them in my garage, whatever you want to do. That's the difference. So 3 people out here very slowly working the hog pan, being interrupted, using small amounts. Excuse me, I call it a hog pan. I got to call it something else. The modified flow pan. The modified flow pan. 2 buckets of dirt. I mean, it's just a few minutes. It's pretty quick just to work it down. Again, we got the concentrates. I'll probably run the concentrates through the multi-sluice just for the heck of it. We'll let each person probably run their own con so they can get used to it. And then I'm going to have them go out in the creek and work some creek bed material with a little bit larger gold too. All right. So Glenda's the only one in the world that hasn't seen a flow pan work. So I'm going to show her the original flow pan, which is probably one of my favorite prospecting tools, period, hands down. And the reason why is it's fast. I get instant results, and you don't do anything. It's just really, really fast. So you take a flow pan full of dirt. Same thing. This goes up creek, that tab. But to start with, submerge it this way when you're facing down creek. So if I was in that flow, which is where I really should be, all you're going to do is you're just going to agitate, agitate, agitate. Stop. Okay? Now you're going to turn this way. And just agitate, just shake it just like this, and all this other stuff is going to basically just flow out. That's it. Now look at all those fine black sand. Personally, that's why I like the flow pan, because at the end of a 5-gallon bucket, guess what my pan's going to look like? That. At the end of 20 5-gallon buckets, my pan's going to look like that. I'm going to end up with a mat full of concentrates and gold. That's all I'm going to do. Here, no flow, the water comes in. Turn, and I would be in the faster flow. Turn,
and just shake it, and that flow comes through here. This is our cross flow technology. The flow actually takes out while you're agitating. The flow takes out all the other. One pan takes you about 30 seconds. A bucket takes you about 4 or 5 minutes. Really fast.
All right, so today we're just going to use the multi-sluice as a stripping unit. So you can see how fast that water is running here. And all we're going to do is, and the reason why I have that running that way is we're just going to classify it 1/4 inch and just run it through just for the heck of it. All right, well, I don't even think, we're not even going to classify it. We're just going to run it through as it is. Any big rocks, we're just going to take the big rocks, kick them out. Keep the feed pretty slow, let it process down. But there's a lot of fine in here. Again, this is the modified way I run my multi-sluice in the field for testing. I use my stripper mat. I don't even really worry about classifying. Again, I'm just looking for some instant results. I know I'm going to have some gold down here. I don't care. All I really care about is, okay, what does it look like from that? Instead of having to pan down 1/2 or 3/4 of a bucket, now I can just run it through here real quick. And I'll probably have on a first run probably about 80%, 90% of my gold is, I mean, somewhere 90% of my gold is going to be in here anyways, by weight at least, just on this stupid quick run setup. This is a stripping run. This is not a capture run. So we're going to go from, you know, 1/2 gallon of concentrates down to a few tablespoons in a pan real quick. Just let it run for a while. I'm just going to let it work down for a minute. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut her off. Let it sit, and then I'm gently gonna unhook this. Well, Joe, once you unhook that, let's put this over here. And then this is what I'm gonna be looking for right there. So this is where you get to see, let me just get some of the water out of here. This is what we call concreting the mats. We tilt it, we get all the water out of it, and now my gold can't float away and my gold can't actually run away. So now, I get down to the point where I see that. So I'm seeing this in the mats. On a multi-sluice, under the box for the first, let's say 8 inches on a stripping run, it's almost nothing but gold. That's all you're gonna see is gold in here. As you come down, you're gonna see a little more gold and a few pieces of more material. You'll see more material, maybe a little bit, but less and less gold as you go down. But again, this is the washer mat. This is the stripping action. So let me see if I can get, so again, top of the box, you'll have gold up in here. You always have gold up in here. You'll have almost pure gold up in here. As you come down, as soon as you want that turbulence, as soon as the turbulence starts to settle, you'll get more finer gold and a little gold plus a little black sand. So there's a little black sand where there's none up here. Then as you go down, watch what happens. Look at the rocks. So now I'm starting to get some of those rocks in here. And I'm starting to get more black sand. And as I go down further and further, as this starts to smooth out and settle down, I'm gonna have more cons. But the entire mat, I'm gonna put it in a pan and show you what we went from. So let's say we went from a 5-gallon bucket down to a few cups of material from the hog pan, from the new con pan, and down to about a tablespoon of material in here. Okay, so this is what I'm left with. It's about maybe 2 tablespoons, tablespoon and a half of material and fine black sand from that run. So let me just pan it real quick. So this was excavated pay, nasty, nasty, nasty clay stuff. We put it into the FlowPan with a ConBox on it. He worked it down. How much did you have? A few cups, a quart of material?
Yeah, let's say a few cups, 3 cups maybe.
Okay. And then this is what he's got. Let me show you. There's a piece of lead in there too. 2 pieces of lead. So this is actually a real pretty picture right here because, let me tell you why. We've got lead right here. We've got small gold, that's like 50 mesh gold down here. And then up here, we have gold that's probably in the 100 to 300 mesh range. So let's see if we can get that on camera. Sometimes it's hard to focus. But look at the lead, look at that gold, and then look at that gold up there. That is just cool. Pretty cool, huh?
It is absolutely cool.
So this is a good product for the person. I mean, you get a lot of people in Canada, you get a lot of people in different areas that say, I've got nothing but 100 and 200 mesh gold, and I'm afraid that the FlowPan is going to blow it up. Okay, well, get the FlowPan, get the pan attachment, capture all your heavies, all your concentrates, bring those home with you. So instead of, maybe you want to go run 20 buckets, you come maybe with half a bucket of concentrates, maybe. Bring half a bucket of concentrates, now you got concentrates to work, you know?
A lot easier.
Yeah, pretty simple. So that's the premise of this pan. I'm gonna take some pictures of that because that's pretty. Okay, so let me tell you what we're doing now. Now we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're gonna grab some of this excavated pay, and I'm gonna sprinkle every shovelful that they put in, I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of these super cons that I have with all different, it's got fine, it's got medium, it's got large gold in it. I'm gonna have them work the entire bucket in just one pan. So they're going to work down the whole bucket full of material without cleaning it out. Then they're going to take that pan and we're going to pan it out just to see the results on it. So that's what we're doing now. Hey guys, so what they're doing now is we're taking that seeded nasty clay material and they're going to work it. So we're just going to watch them work it for a while. Now they're going to work an entire bucket into one pan without cleaning it. Okay, so I asked them if they saw anything unusual to sort of stop and let me know. What you got? Yeah.
So I caught it.
Right there. Nice little piece of gold right there. But this is what I want you to show, that this Yukon mat has like fingers in it. That's a flat piece of gold right there. And it just sort of all works down and gets caught in these grooves right here. Here's another piece right there. Yep, tiny one up there. All right, so once again, I have made their lives miserable and made them work this nasty, nasty excavated pay. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm actually gonna stop Glenda first, and I'm gonna clean her pan, put it into a gold pan, and just pan it out real quick. We don't have a lot of water here. I know for a fact there's going to be a bunch of gold stuck in there, but let me just stop here and pan this real quick. Okay, we're going to tap. It's going to all come over to this side. Yeah, ooh, wow.
That's good.
So, pretty cool, huh?
That is.
So what we've got all sizes of gold in here. We got nice big pickers all the way down to super fine stuff. Let me get the camera and I'll show you the variety we got in here. So anyways, here we go. But again, you can see the super fines. You got 100 and 200 mesh gold up here. And then you got pickers here. Again, no classifying. Took just raw pay, put it into the pan, worked it down. We did not clean the pan out at all this time. Remember that. We worked the entire bucket down to the one tray. Now I have not pulled the mat. Might be interesting. I'm going to pull the mat and let's see what else is in that trap. So let's see what else gold has actually got caught in that trap. So what do you think?
This pan is wonderful. Ooh, yes.
She's happy.
A lot of gold there.
She's happy. Okay, so let me explain what we did. All we did was just rinse out the pan, and that's what we came out with. We didn't take the mat out. We didn't clean the gold trap. Then we cleaned the mat and the gold trap, and that's what we came out with. So, just washing the pan out, stuck in there that wouldn't come out after the washout. That's pretty cool. Now that's fun. When you see that kind of gold in there, and it was easy.
Yeah.
Have you ever used one of these before? No. Never even seen the FlowPan before. he was like, well, I'm going to show her that FlowPan video. She'd never even seen the FlowPan video. So this is our first day out here with the FlowPan with the new ConBox on it. And it's the best thing since sliced white bread. It really is. Bam Bam's the first one in the world to own a FlowPan with a ConBox box on it. She's the first one in the world. We took Jeremy's and we washed out the box first and left the mat in, put it in a pan. The next thing we did was we took the mat out, we cleaned out the little gold trap area. So here's what came out of the wash on the pan, the main wash. And then when we pull the mat in that little trap area, that's what we got. Well, that's pretty cool there. Again, big gold, small gold, all kinds. What'd you think?
Awesome.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
Definitely.
And what do we learn about him? Not leave your mats around him because he'll walk through your mat and get all the pickers out of them.
You said whatever we found was ours. And here's what I found underneath my mat.
This was underneath his mat.
That was underneath the mat.
So that's what's underneath his mat, right there.
Or caught in the mat.
In the mat or underneath it. That's pretty cool there. We're just gonna start stacking these pans up. So I did what?
You didn't salt this one, did you?
Yes, we did. No, this is straight out of the dirt pile. We didn't add anything to this. Look at that gold.
Oh, that's good, man.
It's pretty, isn't it?
Is that a gift for us today?
That's for them it is. The ones that worked it, they get to keep it. You should have seen hers.
And she was sloshing some water.
Fine stuff too.
Yeah, it catches.
Fine, but very, very fine too.
Matter of fact, I'll show you a picture. I'll show you a picture of it. It's nothing but like 100 and 300 mesh gold. That's all that's in it. But this works differently even than the FlowPan. This is a new attachment. This is a new attachment that catches more of the black sand. So if you want to actually like catch a whole bunch of the heavies and black sand, take them back to the camp and then pan it out at night, it's a little bit different. So it's hard to explain. Wait for the video. And Bam Bam and I will be on camera talking about the new FlowPan. We're going to be talking about new FlowPan.
Gonna be on TV.
She going to be on TV? Yeah, she going to be on TV. God, he's such a redneck, that Doc.
Yeah, definitely redneck.
Oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. When the student becomes the teacher.
It's actually a void.
Grasshopper.
So that void, in theory, all this heavy black sand that's up here right now.
Hey guys, so great day today. A lot of fun, a lot of gold. Just remember, the FlowPan by itself is probably my favorite piece of equipment. It's what most people buy. If you want to order the FlowPan with a ConTrap, you can go to the website eventually when we put it up. You can order the FlowPan with a ConTrap. Or if you already have a FlowPan, you'll be able to order the separate solid sides and box. Like I said, once it's up, we're going to start taking pre-orders here pretty soon. We hope first or second week of September we'll be able to start shipping out. Just be patient with us. Again, it's brand new. We weren't going to come out with it till 2019, but we pushed it up just because we can't really sell the hog pen anymore. It's just too expensive for me. Hope this helped, guys. Talk to you later. Doc.